On October 3rd, 1849, Edgar Allan Poe is found in Baltimore, delirious, barely coherent, and wearing clothes that don't seem to be his. Not just rumpled, not just dirty, wrong. And whatever happened in the days before that moment is one of the strangest unsolved episodes in American history. This isn't Poe was spooky, so his death was spooky. This is a real-world mystery. Missing days, a broken paper trail, and a final scene that doesn't match the man. Poe had left Richmond days earlier, planning to travel north. He had plans, people expecting him. Then he drops out of the record. No clean route, no reliable chain of sightings, just a gap. And that gap matters, because when he reappears, he looks like someone swapped him out. Found near Election Day activity in clothes described as unfamiliar and ill-fitting, not what people recognized as Poe. Someone alerts help. Poe is taken to a hospital. He drifts in and out, confused, sometimes agitated, unable to give a coherent account. He reportedly repeats a name, Reynolds, but no one can lock down who that was or what it meant. And here's what makes historians grind their teeth. We don't have a clean medical record. No clear first-person explanation. Mostly fragments, and a death a few days later, October 7th, 1849. So the central question isn't what killed Poe. It's what happened during the missing time that ends with him found in someone else's clothes. Because that detail doesn't feel poetic. It feels procedural, like something was done to him. Let's strip away the junk theories and deal with explanations that actually touch the evidence. Theory 1 is the most famous for a reason. Cooping. Election fraud. A gang grabs a victim, forces them to vote repeatedly, and disguises them between stops. Different clothes, different look, same person. The wrong clothes detail fits Cooping almost too well. And the timing, Baltimore Election Day, gives it teeth. If Poe got pulled into that machine, it explains the confusion, the missing time, and why he couldn't produce a clean story afterward. But here's the honest problem. We can't prove it. No confession. No caught in the act report naming Poe. Cooping is plausible because it fits the pattern, not because it's nailed down. Theory 2 is robbery or assault. He's attacked, stripped, redressed in whatever was available, and later stumbles into view. It explains the clothing mismatch, but it doesn't naturally explain the Election Day connection unless that part is coincidence. Theory 3 is alcohol, the lazy answer people use to make the story boring. Yes, Poe had a complicated history with drinking. Yes, intoxication can explain delirium, but alcohol alone doesn't automatically explain the clothing switch or the missing days. Theory 4, illness. Infection or neurological collapse could cause confusion and wandering. But again, illness doesn't naturally explain wrong clothes unless you add another factor. Someone handling him while he's vulnerable. Then, there are the weaker could-be options. Rabies, carbon monoxide, other exposures. Possible in theory, hard to confirm in practice. They explain symptoms, not the clothing swap. Because that's the anchor clue. Clothes don't change themselves. Either someone disguised him, someone stripped him, or someone handled him while he couldn't resist or consent. And if I'm forced to make the most rational call for what we actually have, Cooping is the best fit. Not because it's dramatic, because it's the one theory where clothing changes aren't a side effect, they're the mechanism. Election day environment. A man found disoriented like he's intoxicated or drugged. Missing time we can't account for. Clothing that doesn't match the man people knew. Cooping ties these into one clean chain. Grabbed, controlled, disguised, and dumped. Do we have perfect proof? No. But cases like this rarely give you perfect proof. They merely give you the explanation that leaves the fewest loose ends. So here's where I land. Poe most likely wasn't mysteriously cursed. He was used. And the most plausible way that happens in that place, at that time, especially with the clothing detail, is cooping. Which leaves the real question: who did it, and why did the record fail to capture it? That's why this case survives. The critical moment lives in a blind spot. If you had to bet, do you agree cooping fits best, or do you think robbery, alcohol, or illness explains more? And what single piece of evidence would change your mind? Drop your answer and your reasoning in the comments. If you like historical mysteries where the real story is buried in the details, consider liking and subscribing so you don't miss the next one. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and never stop seeking the truth. Thank you for watching.